Hi, I'm Zach Reiser, and welcome back to another effects pedal review video. It's been a little while, so I thought I'd do one of my favorite pedals today, which is the Eventide H9. Now, I have two of them because this pedal can quite literally do whatever you want it to do. It can do pitch-based effects, modulations, delays, reverbs, even distortion effects. Now, I don't have near enough time in one video to actually show you everything this pedal can do. There's tons of awesome reviews of the Eventide H9 from Eventide and other people. So today I'm going to show you more how I choose to use the pitch-based algorithms, which is what I use my right H9 for here. So let's jump into it, and if there's anything further that you'd like me to dive into deeper, please make a comment below, and I'll try to do a secondary video on the pitch-based algorithms. Okay, so the first effect I have on here is a classic whammy effect. So this is when you can take your dry signal and bend it up an octave. I guess just to real quick, here's my dry signal without anything on of my Dingwall ABZ 6-string. Okay, so now with the effect on, in the heel position, you don't really hear much different. But I put my toe down, and now we get that classic sliding pitch sound. Okay, now you can use it for that fun effect, kind of in a bass line. But I also like to use it as kind of making my bass kind of turn into a guitar. It's obviously doesn't sound like a guitar, but it gets me into the register of a guitar, so I cut through a mix. So I put on a little bit of overdrive, a little bit of reverb, and now I get this vibe. Just kind of a fun effect. I use it every now and then when I take solos to bump myself out of that bass register. Okay, also using the pitch flex algorithm here, this is keeping my dry signal, but it adds a fifth or an octave on top of my dry signal. So with the heel down, I get this vibe. With the toe down, I get this vibe. And I can slide between the two. So up I really like because it does some cool stuff with chords. So without it, if I just play a simple minor triad bass chord, doesn't sound like much, but if you put this on, it turns into this. Basically a minor 7 voicing. Same thing with major triads chords. And so I use this all the time as kind of a neat textural effect, something like this. You saw there I didn't actually change my hands, I just changed my foot, changing it from a fifth or an octave up. One other thing I use with this a lot is when I take solos, I'll use this with yet again a little bit of reverb, and I'll use the rotary speaker effect from my Strymon Mobius, and it sounds something kind of like this. Kind of giving me a pseudo organ lead. Okay, so those are probably the most normal effects I have on this H9, so we'll get into some of my more fun, kind of creative presets. This is a chordal bass effect, so every note is actually building a diatonic 7th chord, and you can set the key with this button. So for instance, I'll set the key to D major. Okay, and now every note I play is actually a diatonic 7th chord according to the note that I'm playing. So I can make a really simple bass groove. I'll put my Boss OC2 on like this. Nice and fat, subby sound. Put on this chordal effect, and now that same bass line turns into this. Almost kind of like a video game vibe. Now the cool thing about the H9 is every preset, you can change every single parameter to have a heel down and a toe down position. So basically you get 2 presets in one that you can slide between. So in this, I go from this chordal effect into almost more of a harp effect. And so then you can use this dynamically in your bass lines, for instance, like this. Etc. Get some cool sounds that way. The next effect is also using the quadrivox setting, and this is essentially diatonic, again, pitched delays. So I get one pluck, one note, just like this. That's my dry note. With this, you get that cool vibe. Put a little bit of reverb on. Actually, I'll use a more extreme reverb like this. Maybe? Okay, I guess not. There we go. That'll work for now. Now, again, every parameter is selectable with the expression pedal. Put my toe down, and that effect turns into this. Kind of like an arpeggiator. So you can use this dynamically, again, and change kind of your melody line. So... Now I use a lot of live looping when I play live, so a lot of times I'll put down a bass line and then use these as kind of almost keyboard-like textural pads on top. So this isn't something that obviously most bass players are going to get a lot of use out of, but it's a really just amazing example at how expressive the H9 can be if you get clever with it. Okay, so going on to my next preset here. This is using the harmodulator setting, and it's essentially an octave delay. So when I play a note, you hear the delays bounce up and down from 1 octave and 2 octaves in time. Now I'm going to increase the tempo a tiny bit here. Let's see. Okay, so I got a faster tempo. There we go. Now yet again, I like to use this with the OC2 because I get this sub signal. And then when I put on the octave delays, I get this bouncing octave sound. You can almost, with just your bass and essentially 3 notes, create a really cool kind of dance groove out of this. So for instance, I could play a simple bass line like this, and then with this effect on, turns into this. The toe down position on this effect is this glissandoing freak out that you get, so the octaves start gliding between each other rather than bouncing. Which is honestly kind of ridiculous and silly, but I use it as just a little extreme expressive point. So I might do something like this. It's a little bit fast to do a really good example of that. Going on to the next effect. I love this. I had this on my Pitchfactor for a long time before I had the H9, and it was enough almost for me to keep this effect, or keep the whole pedal just for this one effect. This is a really cool soundscape preset. This is really close to a preset that comes with the H9. I forget the name of the preset, but it always reminds me of kind of like an 80s science fiction movie, hence the fact that I called it Blade Runner. So with the heel down, you get this vibe. So without the effect on, with the effect on, it's just so pretty. And then if I slide my foot up here onto the expression pedal and I go toe down, total freak out again. Yet again, is this something that most bass players are going to use? Of course not. But I like to show it, and I like to use it all the time because it totally changes the way that I play my instrument. If I didn't have that effect on and I played this, there's not much there. It's not really that interesting, but if you put this effect on, all of a sudden you have this very unique melody. And if you want a little bit of extra craziness at the end of the melody, just slide your toe forward. So if you like to do a lot of live looping, you like to do a lot of experimental music, there are endless things you can do with the H9. One more preset here in terms of the pitch-based algorithms that I use is the classic crystals effect. So this is going to be the things that you can get on the Strymon timeline can do something similar. There's a couple boss pedals that can do things that are similar. A lot of delays are coming out with this effect as an option, but basically it's a bunch of reverse delays an octave and 2 octaves higher. Now the cool thing about the H9 yet again is you can actually set the pitch of those delays, which is what makes it so cool. So you can change the color of the crystals effect. Without it though, same chord with the crystals. You put a little bit of reverb on afterwards. Just absolutely gorgeous soundscape material. Yet again, you can kind of take your bass out of the bass realm by using these really high up pitch effects. So here is a real low subby note with the OC2. And then if you want to just add that moment of kind of a wash of color into your bass line, hit this on for a second. For the whole song? No, but it's a pretty awesome way to make your bass not sound like a bass anymore. So that's it for the way that I use this for the pitch-based algorithms. Of course, like I said, you can do reverbs, you can do delays, you can do modulations, you can do distortions. This is just what I use the H9 for in regards to pitch. And I will do other videos down the road that show how I use it for reverbs, delays, etc. One other thing I hope to do down the road that I didn't do in this video is compare the sound of a analog Octaver, like I had when I did my Boss OC2 video, compared to a digital Octaver, which I use the H9 for. They're a very different kind of sound, and they have a very different purpose for my taste in music, at least. So I will do a video comparing those two things down the road, because people ask me about that all the time in regards to which Octaver they should get, digital, analog, and then if so, which one of that particular type. So thanks as always for listening. If you like what you hear, please subscribe below. I'll be back with more videos on a regular basis soon. Thank you very much. Have a good day.